Greetings and salutations, viewers. Welcome to ConnectiCon 2017. I am Charles from Inspire the Muse, coming to you today with a fabulous man, Neo Edmund.
Hello.
We are hoping to talk to you today about something obviously no one has ever heard of before, this weird thing that just came out called Power Rangers.
Power Rangers, yeah, that's some new thing. I hear
I heard
it's
you're a
popular
part of
with
it.
the kids.
You've done some stuff.
Yeah, I was on the original show. I was on about 80 episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a putty patroller and various other suited characters. I was kind of the guy who I would do anything they asked me to do as far as stunts go. So they're like, hey, you want to jump off that table and do a flip and land on your back? I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds fun. So, of course, I was in much better shape than I am now. So.
I think that holds true for most of us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What has your experience been like transitioning from on the set to actually writing books for Power Rangers?
That's really cool. This about a year ago, some people from Penguin Random House reached out to me, and they wanted me to write some stuff for them, and it ended up being Power Rangers. So, which was like,
you know a few things.
Yeah, we have a license for Power. What was funny actually is that they knew me from my my Red Riding Alpha Huntress books in my animation work, and the editor I'm working with. Rob Vallis didn't actually know that I had been on Power Rangers. So, yeah, it was pretty funny. So we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I totally am excited. I'd love to write Power Rangers books. And like, how well do you know the show? Because it's in the original series canon. And I'm like, well, dude, you know I was on the show, right? And they're like, what? like you didn't look on I guess people in the book world don't really look at IMDb, you know? So
fair enough.
They're more, interested about like the stuff you've written. And so then they got really excited. It's like, oh, dude, we have an Power Rangers cast member.
It's a perfect fit.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I'm just a big fan of Power Rangers anyways. I mean, even if I hadn't been on the show, I would have watched it and collected the stuff. And I mean, I was 18 at the time. I guess, this coming year, the 2018 is the 25th anniversary of the original show. I know. You're like,
I feel old.
Just saying it that way, you're like, wait, how old am I again? Don't do math; it'll hurt.
My brain.
Yeah, don't do the math. So yeah, it's just it's been an awesome opportunity to write on them, and it's just so much fun to write these characters and just go off. So the first book right here is Tournament of Terror. I'm covering my own face, which is Kimberly Ann Hart, the Pink Ranger, versus Goldar, and it's a one-on-one sort of book. So the other Rangers are off doing something else, and she has to deal with Goldar on her own. So
they're just having a party, doing their thing.
Well, they're off on another mission, So and then I just finished work on a Yellow Ranger book, and there's a whole bunch more coming. So apparently, I'm going to get to write a lot of Power Rangers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really excited.
Which Power Ranger are you hoping to defeat personally?
Like to do battle against?
Considering how many times you've gone up against them at this point.
Oh, well.
You can write whatever stories you want now.
Yes. Well, I mean, I still have, like, when they hire me to write these books, like, they originally told me, like, oh, it's going to be the Pink Ranger, Kimberly versus Goldar, and figure out the story, pitch the story to us, what you want. The same thing with the Yellow Ranger and the Red Ranger book. So, and I hope to get the Green Ranger book. That would be fun. That would be awesome. Yeah. Because, Tommy Oliver, everybody loves Tommy. So, and Jason David Frank is such a cool guy. So, he just loves Power Rangers. I think he loves Power Rangers more than anybody. He's such a big fan of it. So, but personally, I don't know. I got to work with all of them, and I got my butt kicked by all of them every day. And that was my job. That was my college job, really. So, I mean, considering at 18, my options were like, oh, it could be a putty on Power Rangers or work at, a fast food place or something. With my current skill sets at the time, Power Rangers was way cooler. So,
hands down.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, even like the first month I was on the show, it was so new. I didn't even know what it was. So we put on the costumes, the putty costume, and I'm like, what am I? Am I an alien? Am I a monster? We're gonna jump these teenagers on a playground? What's going on? Like, just go with it. It'll be fine. So, and then the first time I saw it on TV, it was like, oh. Yeah.
And you've also written other books outside of the Power Rangers verse.
Yeah. Well, I have my my Red Riding book series, which is actually the book that got Penguin to pay attention to me, Random House. My Red Riding, Rise of the Alpha Huntress, and there's a sequel called Fate of the Big Bad Wolf. And this is like a Red Riding Hood as a superhero werewolf. So, you know, superpowers. Not like werewolf, like I'm a monster, you know, but like, you know, butt-kicking superpowers, you know, in a town overran by all sorts of terrible monsters and creatures and stuff. So those were my first books I did, and those, excuse me, those actually got the attention of Penguin. So, and that's why they reached out to me originally, because when I first got that call from them, I was like, what? Because usually you don't just get a call from a publisher like in New York going, hey, we want you to write books for us, you know?
Not very often that Penguin calls you up.
Yeah, and actually I really initially thought somebody was trolling me. Like, I'm like, is this for real? Like, I had to call up a few friends who know the people and be like, do you know who this person is? They're like, yeah, dude. Like, get on that right away. So, yeah. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was incredible. So.
And I see that you've also worked on Kaijudo.
Kaijudo, Rise of the Duel Master.
What has your experience been like for that?
Well, that was my actual first experience writing for TV animation. So Andrew Robinson, who was the story editor, gave me my break on that show. So I've been trying to get into animation for a while. It's like there's so many people that want in, and there's so many people that are writing in it that it's a tough industry to break into. So he kept promising me for like a year. He's like, yeah, we're going to get you on an episode. We're going to get you on an episode. I was like, okay. And then suddenly I get a call one day. He's like, be at the office on Friday. You know, I was like, okay. And I went down there, and they signed me. They gave me a contract, and, you know, we went in, and I did my first story break the following Monday.
Nice.
Which was great. It was Andrew Robinson and Marty Eisenberg, who's another animation story editor. He's like, I think Marty's doing like Guardians of the Galaxy right now. So I sat in a room with those guys, and we broke a story on a whiteboard. You know, like literally broke out the whole story. So
that must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was like I felt, it was overwhelming at the time, because I'm like, this is my first time in this room, and you know, working at that studio level was so different. So. Because there's so many levels of people who get to say. There's so many levels of approval, all these different departments. So it's like everything you write, you know, you get notes back, and it's crazy. The first script I wrote, it came back, and it was like 75% red lined.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, I opened it up, and I freaked out. I'm like, I totally blew it. I'm going to get fired. And then Andrew called me up, and he's like, you okay, dude? You know? And it was like, he's like, okay, that's normal.
Yeah. To the viewers out there who aren't familiar with the industry, that's par for the course.
Yeah, it ended up being like, oh, no, that's pretty much what you're going to get, because that's like multiple different departments giving notes and stuff. So
everybody has to have their say.
Yeah, so every department gets their say. I mean, anytime you work in like branded stuff, you know, where somebody else it's the same with Power Rangers, you know. There's like 5 different people who give notes on the manuscripts. So so I get the notes from the Penguin Random House people, and I get the notes from the people at Saban too. And sometimes they're like, wait, you're saying this here, and they're saying this here. Like, which one, you know, do I do, you know? Because these notes aren't necessarily, they're contradicting. But that's pretty normal, too.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of get used to weathering that, you know, and just being like, okay, I'll figure it out. So.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. Excuse me.
For our viewers out there, where could they find your books for purchase?
Well, of course, everything in the world's on Amazon. Everything's for sale.
Amazon owns everything.
They do, so and that's actually not a bad thing. Well, depending on who you're talking to. So, but then, of course, the Power Ranger books are available at Barnes & Noble, and I think everywhere. I saw them in Target, which was kind of weird to see something. I was walking through Target, and I'm like, hey, that's my book. I had to take a picture. People were looking at me like, what is this guy doing? You know, he's taking a picture with the books in Target. So people are looking at me funny, but.
What,
and I'm
normal people don't do that?
And I'm super excited, like, oh my gosh, look. So it's kind of surreal to see something like, especially in a big store like that, you know, it's like you expect to see it in Barnes & Noble or bookstore, but like Target or, you know, Walmart or something, it's like, wow, that's really different. So Toys R Us too. So I'm sure I know those are all available there too.
And your other series, I presume, as well?
Red Riding, yeah. So, of course, Amazon, and I believe some bookstores. Some Barnes & Nobles and not others. I don't know. So, but of course, you can always order it at Barnes & Noble, and they'll get it to you in like an hour. So, yeah.
When all else fails, use the Google.
Yes.
It'll come up.
Yes. Yeah. If you Google neoedmund.com, you'll find out everything you ever want to know about me and probably more. So, neoedmund.com, of course. So.
Thank you for taking a few minutes to talk to us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This is really cool, man. So, and ConnectiCon is awesome, by the way. So, I guess this will probably be on after the show is over, but next year.
Yes.
People
Unfortunately, if you're watching this online, the convention has already happened.
Well, everybody should check out ConnectiCon next year for sure. So this is a great show, and we're having so much fun.
And if you were here, post in the comments what your experiences were so we can continue the conversations. And until next time, go find a Power Ranger and try and beat them up.